Kirtan first. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yeshodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari 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 Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yeshodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Harinaam Sankirtan ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Nitai Gaura Hari Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nayastiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we will have a session on Nama Mahima. Harinaam is our life. So this session is very basics of japa, and guess this will be a repetition as many devotees spoke on this topic in our daily call. But please kindly be with me as it's very important topic to progress in bhakti, and we can listen as many times as possible to know the importance of Harinam. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunditam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadamkitam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Patakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadam Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakashitam Cha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyasya Desatarini. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupyasya Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mokam karoti vachalam pangum lagayate girim yat krupatam aham vande paramananda madhavam. Hare Krishna devotees, I am stopping my video so that I can be comfortable while taking the session. Please forgive me. Hare Krishna Balagovind Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Very grateful Prabhuji for giving me this opportunity. Please forgive me for my inability to give the session in Telugu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. I am not at all qualified to speak here, just seeking the blessings from my Guru Balgoin Prabhuji and from all senior acharyas and all the devotees in the call, so that I can speak the right words to glorify Harinam. So let us start the session. So today's topic I have picked is Nama Mahima. Harinam is our life. So this session is basically divided into three parts. The first one is identity of holy name, and number two is glories of holy name, and the third one is 3 stages of chanting holy name. Let us start with the identity of holy name. So in understanding the identity, the very first understanding about the identity is that the holy name is transcendental. That means it is not material sound vibration. To explain this, Srila Prabhupada has given very important experiment. So like which each of us can perform. Like try chanting material name repeatedly. Try to chant the name Mr. John, Mr. John, Mr. John. How long can we chant? Maybe like 5 times or 10 times. And that's it. Like beyond that, we get bored of it. We cannot repeat it. We get exhausted. But the name of Krishna, we have been chanting since so long. still we continue to chant. Though we might not have developed the taste, but still we continue to chant. So right now, even with our material senses, we can understand the difference between a spiritual sound vibration and the material sound vibration. We never get exhausted of it because Krishna is not different than his name. Krishna's name has wonderful divine properties and which makes it very blissful process to chant. So let us understand why the holy name is transcendental. What are the properties of holy name? What is its true value? So this is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is a beautiful verse which Prabhupada has given so much importance, and Prabhupada has mentioned many times, repeated the meaning and translation of this verse in many of his lectures to understand what exactly the true identity of holy name. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 17.133. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Bhinnatvam Nama Naminaha. Let us try to understand the details of this verse. Nama Chintamani. Chintamani means it's a wish fulfilling gem. Why holy name is a wish fulfilling gem? Just like Krishna, we have the darshan of the Lord. He is willing to bestow upon us so many benedictions, whatever we desire. For example, Daura Maharaj performed great tapasya and Lord appeared and wanted to offer something to him. Similarly, Lord appeared as Narsimhadev for Prahlad Maharaj and he wanted to offer so many benedictions. Similarly, holy name of Krishna also wanting to give us benedictions, fulfill our desires, especially spiritual desires, because holy name is not different from Krishna as a person. That is why holy name is Chintamani. It bestows benedictions just like how Krishna in person does to us. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. So let us see what's the meaning of Chaitanya is. Chaitanya means that which has living force. It has living potency within it. It's just an opposite of dead. That means holy name has potential to give life to dead matter. For example, if someone is chanting Shuddha Nam, he can induce this Chaitanya or life even in dead matter. This happened in the life of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And he is a spiritual master of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the spiritual master of our Srila Prabhupada. So one day, when the disciples of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj went to meet him, at that time he was chanting holy name. So when he was chanting the holy name, this holy name was not just him chanting, but by the power of his chanting, all the bricks on the wall have started chanting the holy name. And this is witnessed personally by his disciples. How could he induce even a dead matter to chant? That's because he was chanting Shuddha Nam, pure holy name. So by the dint of his chanting of pure holy name, that holy name even activated the dead matter around it to chant the holy name. That's what Chaitanya means. It has a living force. Rasa Vigraha. So means like it is a form of transcendental milos. Krishna is Rasaraj, the king of all transcendental milos. He is reservoir of all rasas. Rasa means different reciprocations or different relationships which Lord maintains with his devotees. For example, Vatsalya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Lasya, Madhurya, etc. Similarly, holy name also Rasa Vigraha. It is a form of all transcendental milos. Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto means it is ever liberated. It is not contaminated by material qualities. It's completely pure because it is non-different from Krishna himself. Where there is Krishna, there cannot be any Maya. So similarly, holy name is devoid of any contamination by material qualities. It is always liberated and spiritual. That means it is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is exactly the difference between Krishna Nama and any other mantra. We'll explain about the difference between Krishna Nama and any other mantra later in the session. Please stay tuned. So let us all meditate on this verse daily so that we can do Shuddha Nama at some point in our life. So we just spoke about the identity of the holy name. And in fact, holy name is considered a living entity's first introduction to Krishna. That's how living entity comes in contact with Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there are only two things that are eternal in this material world. What are those two things? One is Jivatma, that is the soul, and the other is holy name. Everything else will perish over a period of time. You name it, for example, any material possession like your gated community apartments, villas, farmlands, etc. Everything will perish at the end of our lifetime. But only these two are eternal things, spirit, soul, and holy name. That is why we should understand how important it is to focus on our chanting, which will ultimately take care of these two eternal aspects, which is Jivatma and the holy name. Let us understand how does the holy name purify the chanter. How does the holy name purify the chanter? In other words, it's how it purify us while we are doing chanting. So it purifies us in two ways. One is it diminishes the propensity to sin. And the other one is it purifies the consciousness. We all have been chanting quite some time. So let us get into details how this chanting as a process starts working in us. When we start chanting, what happens is our propensity to sin starts diminishing and simultaneously consciousness starts getting purified. This is in the beginning stages of chanting, but that doesn't mean after a period of time, the propensity to sin will diminish completely. It will still linger even after the process. The person has achieved an advanced stage of chanting, which means he is able to rectify all the aparadhas, but still there is some degree of propensity to sin will be there always. That is why we should always proceed, do the chanting. So how is it and why it is happening? Though for advanced devotee, why he has still that propensity to sin? This we can understand by a very good example. Let us take a small bottle of kerosene and start spilling it out. That means that kerosene represents our propensity to sin, and we start spilling it out. So as we are chanting, all our sinful propensities are draining out continuously. And it's totally drained. That means we are free from all nam aparadhas. And after that, if we just hold and smell the bottle of kerosene, it still smells kerosene even after we have emptied the total bottle. Similarly, even after the holy name purifies the chanter who is in advanced stage, still one should be very conscious to continue to chant because they will still lingering properties to perform sinful activities. So chanting should continue in all circumstances with full consciousness and even in advanced stage, that is after achieving the perfection also. So this chanting has been declared as the best form of devotional service. there are like beautiful verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya 4.70 and 4.71. भजनेरे मध्ये श्रेष्ठ नवविध भक्ति कृष्ण प्रेम कृष्ण अधीते दारे महाशक्ति. Translation: among the ways of executing devotional service, the 9 prescribed methods are the best, for these processes have the great propensity to deliver Krishna and ecstatic love for him. तारे मध्य सर्वश्रेष्ठ नाम संकीर्तना निरापराधे नाम लैले पाया प्रेमदाना. Translation: of the 9 processes of devotional service, the most important is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. If one does so, and avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses, one very easily obtains the most valuable love of Godhead. So let us understand in detail about both these verses, because these are very, very important to have faith on holy name. Bhajanere Madhye Shrestha Navavidha Bhakti. We have understood from our Gita study, the middle 6 chapters focus on the glory of Bhakti, the most confidential knowledge, and this very Bhakti has been completely expounded in Bhagavatam. And the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam is about Nama Bhajana, or like glories of the holy name. And that conclusion is the very essence of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we treat Chaitanya Charitamrita as our PhD study in our scriptural endeavor. So in all these books, the essence is devotional service. So what is the way of executing this devotional service? It is Navavidha Bhakti, that is like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vandanam, Padasevanam, etc. And each of these processes in itself effective to give Krishna Prema. But now coming to the very important point. Tare Madhye Sarvashreshta Nama Sankirtana Niraparade Nama Laile Paya Premadana. Of the 9 processes of devotional service, the most important is to always chant the holy name of the Lord. And if one does so, avoiding the 10 kinds of offenses, one very easily obtain the most valuable love of Godhead. It's that easy. So this is the glory of chanting. Harinaam is like most potent form of devotional service. Of all the yogas, most important is Bhakti Yoga. And highest form of Bhakti Yoga is Navavidha Bhakti. And of the Navavidha Bhakti, the topmost is Tare Madhye Sarva Shrestha Nama Sankirtana. The highest form of devotional service is Nama Sankirtana. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yajnanam Japa Yajnoshmi. Of all the yajnas, I am the Japa, chanting, because it's the supreme most form of executing devotional service. Not just this, like even among us, the 5 limbs of bhakti, we have like 5 potent forms of bhakti, like deity worship, devotees association, Madhuravas, like staying in a dham, Srimad Bhagavatam, and chanting of holy name. So these are all the 5 limbs of bhakti. So, and it is declared that like of these 5 limbs or 5 potent forms of devotional service, the best practice is chanting of the holy name. In fact, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that like each of these processes or other 4 processes should point towards chanting of the holy name. It is beautifully written in Hari Bhakti Shubhodaya, which says that all other forms of bhakti are meant to increase the chanting of holy name. They are all in the background, but the foreground is chanting of the holy name. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, each and every other 4 limbs, like for example, the first one like deity worship, even when we are rendering deity worship, it should be parallelly done along with Nama Bhajana. It should not be done alone. And let us take the second one, Madhuravas, residing in Dham. What is the purpose of going to the Dham and residing in Madhuravas? All the holy men come and sing the glories of the Lord. And if we see Srimad Bhagavatam, it speaks about the glories of the Lord. That's the conclusion. If we see Sadhu Sangha, the purpose of Sadhu Sangha is to increase our inclination to chant the holy name. In that way, each of the processes will point finally to the chanting of the holy name. And like among the 5 limbs of bhakti, the most potent practice is Nama Bhajana, that is chanting of holy name. And in fact, the 9 processes of bhakti, each in one way or the other, the chanting of holy name itself. All these are included in chanting of holy name. Like for example, when we are chanting, we are simultaneously doing Sravanam and Kirtanam. We are hearing holy name and we are reciting the holy name. Vandanam, that means we are offering prayers to the holy name. What is chanting? Chanting nothing but we are praying to Srimati Radharani. Please engage us in the service of Krishna. So Vandanam is taken care. Smaranam, remembering Krishna, remembering Lord Krishna. We are remembering Lord Krishna by chanting the holy names. What is Archanam? Archanam means like we are worshipping Krishna by chanting the holy name. And we are remembering the lotus feet of Krishna by chanting holy names. We are chanting with 108 beads. Means each of the bead is equal to lotus feet of each of the gopis. So like it's the part of Pada Sevanam. And we are serving the Lord. We are chanting in the mood of service. That is nothing but Dasyam. We are developing a relationship with Lord, a friendship. That is nothing but Sakyam. And we are surrendering ourselves completely by chanting the holy name. We are surrendering our consciousness, which is nothing but Atma Nivedanam. So all other 8 processes of bhakti are included in chanting. So just doing chanting, we are executing all other 9 processes of devotional service. That's how potent the holy name is. So let us now understand what is the difference between mantra and Krishna Nama. Mantra means like which is actually given by very powerful personality with some benedictions included in it. That is, like if we chant this mantra, these are the benefits we will get. That is mantra. But Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is not just mantra. It is Krishna Nama. That means it's the holy name. It's not different than Krishna himself. Just like how Krishna can give us anything for us, similarly, holy name can provide us any benediction, beginning from whatever we desire, starting from our spiritual inclinations to as great as revealing our own spiritual identity in the spiritual world and putting us back in our original constitution position of the servant of Krishna. That's what the potency of holy name. It much beyond. We can't compare it with any other mantra. Mantra just gives us that benediction which has bestowed upon that personality who is offering us the mantra. But holy name is all inclusive. There is nothing it cannot bestow. Just like Krishna, who is unlimited, he can give us anything. So holy name of Krishna, it can bestow us anything. So let us now go to the second part of the section, which is like glories of holy name. So even before we discuss the glories of holy name, we should understand why it is important to know the glories of holy name. There is a verse in Kevalastakam which goes like this: Aho dukkham maha dukkham, dukkha dukkataram yata, kachatam vishrutam ratna, harinama eva kevalam. That means the most pitiable thing, the most sorrowful thing, the most miserable thing of this world is that Kachatam Vishratam Ratna. We have mistaken Ratna, that means a very precious gem, to Kacha, which means an ordinary piece of glass. That is what we are treating the holy name. The holy name is most precious jewel, but we are simply treating it as a useless piece of glass, a piece of broken glass. Why are we doing this? We are not doing this intentionally, but we are doing this because we are not investing our time and consciousness in understanding what is its glory, what is the value of what we have received. Sometimes, like, it is very important in our daily life of running and doing our material responsibilities and sadhana simultaneously. We just have to sit back and understand what is actually has been given to us in our hands. What is the value of it? What is the glory of it? Then it will tremendously increase our commitment to our own sadhana. There is a verse in Mukunda Mala Stotra written by King Kulashekar Alvar. Ascharya etadhi manushya loke sudam paritrajna visham pibanti namani narayana gocharani tiktvan vanya vacha kuhaka patanti. Please excuse my inability in pronouncing the sloka properly. So King Kulashekar Alvar is saying, Ascharyam etadhi manushya loke. It is such an amusing thing to see the mankind giving away nectar and drink poison. The entire mankind is throwing away the nectar and they are just drinking the poison. Namani Narayana Gocharani. Instead of drinking the holy name of Narayana or Lord Krishna, they are simply wasting their time in ordinary gossips and everything else except chanting. So why do they have to waste their time? So King Kulashekar Alvar was lamenting upon seeing the conditions of his citizens who are not taking up the chanting process, chanting of the holy name. So that is why we should invest one's conscious energy and effort in understanding the true glory of the process that we are following. If not, we get lost and we may lose taste within no time. It just becomes an ordinary routine. And that is why, like, main reason we do not make advancement in our spiritual life. If we don't understand the true glory, chanting will just be like one of the routines we follow along with other material responsibilities. And we'll end up chanting for our lifelong, and we may not be getting the highest benefit, which is like Nama Bhajana Rahasya. So one should consciously invest one's energy in understanding what's the true value of holy name and what's the glory of the holy name. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, chant the Nama Mahima, glories of the holy name. Practice that daily. I also do that. Harinama is our life. So we have understood that Harinam is our life and soul. It is everything. It is ready to give us all benedictions, and it is the topmost spiritual process. It is the essence of all scriptures. So what should we do? We should try to hear more and more the glories of the holy name so that our faith increases and we chant with more intensity and with more commitment. As seriousness of chanting increases, slowly the offenses will reduce, and the kind of benefit we get is like multiple times when compared to ordinary or just mechanical chanting. So coming to the actual point, what is the glory of the holy name? The holy name has the potency to reveal the topmost secret. There is something called Siddha Pranali. There is a pastime of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Once a Grahastha couple approached Maharaj and asked for Chitta Pranali mantra. What is Chitta Pranali mantra? Like in those days, there are some gurus who used to offer, like, upon seeing someone, they used to tell them, like, what is their Siddha Deha. That means, what is their real identity in spiritual world. They used to say, now you chant this specific mantra and you, within no time, you will realize that identity. That is called Siddha Pranali. Later on, like, it was banned because many false gurus started misutilizing this practice and misled many of the followers. So when this Grahastha couple has approached Maharaj to give Siddha Pranali, Maharaj said only one thing: just chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is sufficient for you to take you to the topmost position. The holy name itself will reveal to you gradually, and it not only purifies your heart, but you chant sincerely over a period of time, it will give you complete self-realization, your true identity, your relationship with the Lord. Everything will be revealed simply by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's what Maharaj has advised the Grahastha couple. And the topmost potency to reveal the Hari's secrets. We don't have to go for any other mantras. Just rely on the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So, to whom does the holy name reveal itself? Like, does it reveal to everybody and anybody? The answer is no. There is a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 17.136. Atah Sri Krishna Namadi Nabavet Graham Indriya Sevo Mukehi Jihvade Swayam Eva Spruhte Ada. Translation: therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, and qualities. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the lost food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. So that's why we say, like, we always eat prasadam, the food which is offered to Krishna, so that we can have the taste of the holy name, and ultimately we will advance in our bhakti. So it's really important to have prasadam in our daily life. There is a famous verse in Pajjavali, that is verse number 20. So this verse basically says, what's the effect of holy name has upon a person who even just start desiring to chant. They didn't even start chanting. Someone just desires, okay, let me try to chant. Even if someone start desiring like that, let's see what happens. This is what this verse says. This verse is very big. I'm trying to do the pronunciation. Please forgive me for my ineffectiveness in doing the sloka. Vepante duitanu moha mahima sammohanam alambate satankam nakaranjani kalayati Sri Chitragupta kriti sananda madhuparka sampriti vidav vedav karoti udyamam vaktum namni tevashirabalashite brunau kim anyat param. Translation: O Supreme Personality of Godhead, when someone desires to chant your holy name, sins tremble in fear. The glory of material illusion faints unconscious. Emerald scribe Chitragupta becomes happy and gazes at the chanter's toenails with awe and reverence. And Lord Brahma prepares Madhuparka to worship him. Oh Lord, what more can we say than this? Let us try to understand in detail about this verse, because it is very important to understand the importance of holy name. See, this person has a desire to chant. Let us see what happens if someone desires to chant. Vepanti duritani means the sins start trembling in fear when when you decided to chant. You just had a desire to chant. As soon as you desire to chant, all the sins that are there, they start trembling in fear. Moha Mahima Sammoham Alambate means the glory of material illusion which trapped us all in this material world, who is making us feel that we are this body, we are not this soul. So what will happen to all this moha? That entire moha or illusion is going on. What will happen to that illusion? That illusion itself will faint because that person has desire to chant. And what happened to Chitragupta? Like, he is the one who is taking care of all our accounts of sin that we perform with our body, mind, and words. Satankam Nakaranjani. Satankam means to see or glance. Nakaranjani means upon the toenails of that person with awe and reverence, because this person has desired to chant the holy name of Krishna. That means he will soon get rid of all the sins. Soon all these piles of sin that I am accounting will burn to ashes just because this person has desired to chant. That's how happy Chitragupta sees when someone has a desire to chant. And what happened to Lord Brahma? He begins to start making Madhuparka. Madhuparka means like it's a mixture of all Panchamrita, which is offered to highly worshipable persons. So when we do deity worship, when we perform Abhishekam of the deities, the first thing we do is we offer incense and then we offer Madhuparka, because the deities are highly worshipable. So what will Brahma do? Like, he starts preparing Madhuparka to offer the person who has just desired to chant the holy name, because that person has become worshipable person to whom Lord Brahma, who is the supreme creator. What more can we say than this about the glories of chanting of the holy name? So let us now go to the final part, that is like 3 stages of chanting the holy name. There are basically 3 stages of chanting. The chanting process, there will be 3 stages. As we progress, we will be going from one stage to another in all these processes. So to start with, it is called as the starting process is Nama Aparadha, and the second one is Nama Abhasha, and the third one is Shuddha Nama. So when we start chanting, we start with lot of offenses because we do not have sufficient faith. Later on, these offenses start getting cleared. That's the next stage. It's called clearing stage, which is Nama Abhasha. The third stage is Shuddha Nam, which means pure holy name. This Shuddha Nam is chanted by pure devotees, and these are completely fixed in bhakti. So we already heard about the example of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj earlier in the session. So when he was chanting, all the bricks are chanting, that is Shuddha Nam. That is where the Chaitanya of holy name got manifested, because he was chanting the pure holy name. Let us talk more about Nam Aparadha and Nam Abhasha, because most of us are either in of these 2 stages of chanting. Nam Aparadha. Nam Aparadha means like this is nothing but the utterance of holy name that is made consciously with lot of enmity in our heart. There is still lot of enmity in the heart. That means enmity is just the opposite of love. We still did not develop the attachment or love for Krishna. So with that consciousness of enmity in, when we chant, we are doing aparadha unconsciously. So how to get free from Nam Aparadha? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says we should not give up chanting just because we are on the stage of aparadha. We can overcome aparadhas by chanting more and more. Gradually, when we chant more and more, the offenses get cleared and then we progress gradually. Three main ways of getting freed from Nam Aparadha are: one is Bhakti, and the second one is power of Krishna's name, and the third one is mercy of Krishna associates. These three can make us free from Nam Aparadha. Bhakti means again, like it's a devotional service. Whenever we are performing a service that has a direct impact on our chanting, so whenever we do seva, especially that seva which is pleasing to our Guru Maharaj or our Siksha Guru Balgovind Prabhuji or any Vaishnava, after doing that seva and start chanting, we can immediately find the difference in our chanting, because that's the power of pleasing a pure devotee, and that's the power of devotion or bhakti. And also we should chant the holy name as much as possible and not just our prescribed number of rounds, because Krishna's name gives the determination to chant. We can give any, like we can use like any special occasions like Janmashtami or any festivals. These are the days where we can increase our rounds and chant extra rounds, which will give lot of strength to chant the holy names. We can actually use Ekadasi, where like we have 2 in a month. We can do extra rounds of chanting, pure conscious chanting. That is why we see like very serious devotees, they don't do any extra activities during Ekadasi. And there are some devotees who don't even do deity worship on that day. They exclusively keep it for chanting, because that chanting will give lot of strength during the rest of the period. Especially chanting done on Ekadasi has a lot of potency. Let us improve our chanting on Ekadasi days, and more important, conscious chanting. Okay. Yeah. And the third way is the mercy of Krishna associates. That is why, like Acharya say, we must chant in the association of devotees. It gives lot of strength and inspiration to chant. That is why it is called Nama Sankirtana Yajna. That means people come together and chant. When people come together and chant, it has more potency than sitting alone and chanting. Sitting alone and chanting, it has its own impact, but coming together and chanting has a very different and very high impact, especially when we come in association of pure devotees and chant. It gives lot of strength. So there are like 10 offenses which we are aware of and mindful. So while chanting, it is very important to read these daily before chanting. It has tremendous effect on our chanting. Make sure we read these 10 offenses daily before we start doing our conscious chanting. There is also 11th offense which we can add, which is nothing but inattention. We can say this inattention is the root cause of most of all the other 10 offenses. And if we can rectify this inattention, all other offenses may be like automatically rectified. So how can we rectify this inattention, which is the most important thing which makes us do like just chanting, not conscious chanting? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes this inattention is of 3 types. One is apathy, indifference, audasinya. Number 2, laziness, jadya. Distraction, vikshepa, the third one. Apathy means, okay, I understand chanting is very glorious. It's the highest form, but there is nothing more looking into that, then that's they know the importance, but they don't do the chanting. And the indifference means you are still not convinced in heart about the holy name. You are not very serious or conscious of your chanting. You are chanting, but your attention is elsewhere. This can overcome by chanting in the association of devotees who are very serious about their own chanting. So whenever we go for yatra, we should not miss to chant in the association of senior Vaishnavas. And if it's like a Guru Maharaj yatra, we can't even think about missing to chant in the association of Maharaj. You will never get an opportunity again. We should be associated with Maharaj as much as possible. So when we see the eagerness of chanting of senior Vaishnavas, we automatically get inspiration to chant that way, and which will improve our chanting tremendously. And that's how we can overcome our indifference while chanting. The second thing is laziness or jadya. That means we are too lazy to pick up the big bags and chant. Or even if we are chanting, we are not investing our consciousness. To do something mechanically is very easy. That is why we might just be superficially rolling the beats and our tongue is just vibrating the name. But are we actually putting our heart into it? Are we putting our consciousness into it? We may be investing in like mutual funds, farmlands, villas, or apartments. Let us also try to invest our consciousness while chanting. To invest our consciousness while chanting, it's the greatest investment. It will come along with us. And in fact, that's the only thing that will come after our death. Conscious chanting means like bringing in all our faculties to one focus. That is why it's the highest sacrifice, because we are sacrificing our consciousness as we are chanting, and opposite of sacrificing the consciousness is laziness. That means wherever the mind is wandering, we are just going there. There is no personal endeavor to bring it back to the holy name. That is laziness. That is why Arjuna tells in Gita, Chanchalahi Manah Krishna. It is very difficult to control the mind. But Krishna says, I understand. Krishna says, like, it is possible by constant practice and detachment. And what is that practice? Giving up laziness. Make a conscious effort. So the last type of inattention is distraction or vikshepa. Distraction is nothing but mind will think about everything else except hearing the holy name. That's how our mind is tuned. We will do everything while chanting except listening to the holy name. We plan what to do after we finish the chanting, a planned rest of the day, and etc. Prabhupada says we should know how to welcome Krishna. Suppose if we have invited a very important guest, how do we receive that guest? Guest reception itself is a big celebration for us, right? And we receive the guest with lot of attention, with lot of love. That's how we receive an important guest. So when we are chanting the holy name, we are calling Krishna. We have invited him. Krishna has come, but we are thinking of something else. We are looking at something else. It is just like, imagine you have gone for lunch or dinner with your friend and you are sitting opposite to each other at a table and you are just being inattentive, using your phone or looking somewhere else or doing something else without paying attention to your friend. Your friend is just sitting there in front of you and he's talking to you and he want to talk to you, he want to listen to you. You are right in front of him and you are watching something else on your phone. Or take vice versa the situation. You and your friend have been there for a lunch or dinner and you are trying to talk to him, but your friend is doing something else. He is not at all giving you importance. He is doing something else. He is doing everything except he is talking to you and he is not listening to you. How do you feel? Just sit in the position of Krishna and listen. Okay. Just think in the position of Krishna. How does he feel when we are chanting, and try to get into that situation now, how Krishna feels in that situation. So actually we can say that 12th offense is like, we can add one more offense, which is the 12th offense as using a cell phone while chanting. This alone is enough to bring us back to this material world. Forget everything else. This cell phone is enough to bring us back to the material world, because we are so much, it's being part of life. It replaced everything. It replaced our family members. It replaced our watch. It replaced everything. Cell phone is our life. That's the kind of belief we are being living in our life. That's how everyone is leading their life. And if we are doing online chanting, just a small advice to our devotees: limit our touches to the phone, like while joining the call for chanting, that is the one, and other one is towards the end of the chanting or end of the call. That's it. No more touching of the phone. Like, don't touch the 12th offense while doing a chanting. Just a small advice. So coming back to our topic, distraction, like we are doing all this, and how does our friend feel who is sitting in front of us? That's how Krishna is that person whom we have invited through our chanting. He has come, he has descended, but we are not attentive to his chanting. It's an aparadha. It's a huge offense to the holy name. So one should be very conscious while chanting. That is why Senior Acharya says, like, chanting should be done in the Brahma Muhurta, which is like free from distractions, or at least will limit the distractions. So let us now move to the final aspect of Nama Aparadha, which is like the weeds of Bhakti Lata. This is very important topic. Please pay attention. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains our bhakti is compared to a creeper or lata. That is why it is called Bhakti Lata. So as we are watering the root of a creeper, we nourish the creeper of our bhakti by watering it with chanting of the holy name. So like, the more we are chanting, our Bhakti Lata creeper starts growing and growing. And this creeper grows and it penetrates all through the material illusions and it reaches the spiritual world. Finally, it bears its fruit at the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Krishna. What is the beautiful fruit? That is the love of Godhead. That is the ideal situation if we are doing conscious chanting. But that is not the case for most of us. But let us understand how important the conscious chanting is. So as we are watering this Bhakti Lata, something happens. Like if we are inattentive, weeds start growing. Superficially, they appear like Bhakti Lata only, but they are very dangerous, because when we are doing inattentive chanting or doing aparadhas while chanting, instead of nourishing the Bhakti Lata, we might end up nourishing the weeds that are going around the Bhakti Lata. And these weeds becomes stronger and stronger as we continue our inattentive chanting. How do these weeds look like? It's clearly explained in the below slokas. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 19.158 and 159. Kintu yadi latara sange ute upasaka bhakti mukti vancha yata asankhya tara leka. Translation. Sometimes unwanted creepers, such as creepers of desire for material enjoyment and liberation from material world, grow along with the creeper of devotion service. The varieties of such unwanted creepers are unlimited. Nishiddhacharya, Putinati, Jiva Himsana, Labha, Puja, Pratistadi, Yata Upasaka Gana. Translation. So unnecessary creepers grow with the bhakti creeper or the creepers of behavior unacceptable for those trying to attain perfection, diplomatic behavior, animal killing, mundane profiteering, mundane adoration, and mundane importance. All these are unwanted creepers. Let us understand these in detail. Nishiddhacharya means breaking the regulative principles, breaking the 4 regulative principles. Kutinati means having a diplomatic behavior, hypocrisy. Jiva Himsana, animal killing, or causing violence to anybody through our words or behavior. Labha means having the desire of wanting something or profit out of everything. Puja, desire for adoration. Pratishtadi, desire for distinction. So if we do it inattentive chanting, these are all the weeds which grow along with our Bhakti Lata. So these are the 6 weeds that choke the growth of Bhakti Lata or creeper of devotion. When they start choking the creeper of devotion, sometimes if the choking is too much, Bhakti Lata collapses and it cannot grow any further. That is why we should be very careful about the attitudes that we simultaneously developing as we are progressing in our bhakti. Kintu yadi latara sange ute upasaka. Upasaka means unwanted creepers or weeds. Bhukti mukti vancha, from where these weeds are coming, desire from sense gratification. Yata asankhya tara leka means they grow along with the creeper of devotional service, and the varieties of such unwanted creepers are unlimited. One should be very careful while chanting. We should chant with devotion, and so that weeds don't grow and choke our bhakti lata. Then our spiritual progress will be very, very fast. Actually, the holy name has potency to bestow the ultimate goal within no time, very fast. In fact, within days. But the fact that we still did not develop means we are performing aparadha. So that is why it is important to understand these aparadhas and start rectifying them consciously. Then our bhakti lata grows in a healthy way and heading towards the lotus feet of the Lord. Let us now understand what is Nam Abhasha. This is called clearing stage, where because it clears or purifies the heart of all sins. So the difference between Nam Aparadha and Nam Abhasha means like the person who is in Nam Abhasha, he will quickly progress towards Shuddha Nama. In other words, he is in progressive stage. Nam Aparadha. The person who is chanting in Nam Aparadha, like he can never enter the realm of Shuddha Nama. He can never be awarded pure love of Godhead. And so, how do we progress from Nama Abhasha to Shuddha Nama? We will progress from Nam Abhasha to Shuddha Nama, the final stage of our chanting, by 2 ways. That is, association of pure devotees and diligently giving up the company of Nam Aparadhis, the so-called devotees. So we should remember these 2 points, very important points. Association of pure devotees and diligently giving up company of Nam Aparadhis. Shuddhanam basically means Harinam that is free from 10 offenses. Maybe we can say 12 offenses, which is like we added 2 more offenses, like one is attention and inattention and using mobile phone while chanting. We should be careful of these all 12 offenses. So what is the effect of Shuddhanam? It's the sum total of prarabdha, which means aparabdha karma is destroyed, which is like all our karmic reactions will be destroyed and bound out, and prema will arise. Just imagine how we will be in Shuddhanam. All our karmic reactions will be destroyed. Keep that point and let us all keep that point. When we are doing conscious chanting, we ultimately proceed to the Shuddhanam, and that Shuddhanam chanting will erase all our aparadhas, all our karmic reactions, and ultimately we will rise to prema, which is love of Godhead. And these are the two effects Shuddhanam, and only Shuddhanam can give us. So how to raise to Shuddhanam? By Sambandha Jnana. Sambandha Jnana means which Krishna awards a sincere devotee, or that Jnana which our spiritual master gives in our heart. So holy name is with us right from sadhana level to the sadhya level, and it is the topmost of all the processes of bhakti and most potent. So we should certainly invest our time and energy in understanding the identity of the holy name, glories of the holy name, and how to improve our japa. Hope this session will help and inspire everyone to do conscious chanting. Please make conscious chanting as one of the resolutions for this new year and make a big leap in bhakti in the year 2023. Wish you all advance happy and prosperous Krishna conscious new year. And like preparing for this session helped me a lot in my own chanting. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Please forgive me for my inability to take the session in Telugu. Please forgive me. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Dandavad Pranam.